Hey everyone, today I have a video on jungling and I'll be covering ganking specifically. So across all elos I see a lot of junglers who aren't very good at ganking. Maybe that's because they're new to jungling or whatever, but either way they just stick to the standard walk in from behind, throw your CC and try to get the kill gank. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but there are a lot of more successful ways to try ganking, so I thought I'd cover a few of them in these videos to help people out. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is a really general ganking tip that applies to a lot of situations, and that's to save your skill shots and your gap closers. So I see so many people who, just as an example, will play Lee Sin and Q right away the moment they get into a gank. Not that that's always the wrong thing to do. There are a lot of times when you should just Q right away because there's no other way to gap close, so you might as well just throw out your Q. But there are also a lot of different times when to throw out your skill shots right away means that the gank won't successfully go. So in this example, I'm playing Elise, there's a Jace, and I use my gap closer right away just to close the distance, but what I'm really talking about is the cocoon. So I save my cocoon until I'm already on top of him, because if I just walked in and cocooned right away, he could easily have dodged it, and then ganked over because my CC's gone. Now in that case, I waited until I was already on top of him to cocoon, and we got the kill. Here's another example where I'm playing Vi. So we start the gank, get the vault breaker on him, and start doing damage. Now he flashes, and then I use my ultimate. If I had used my ultimate right after using my vault breaker, he could have just flashed away and the gank would be over. But instead, I save my ultimate until the Yasuo flashes, and that gets us a kill. My next tip for you is that you shouldn't be too afraid to use your flash during a gank. So flash is instant, so it won't leave much time for the enemy laner to respond, and if they don't respond, which usually is the case, then you'll just get the kill. And if they do respond, they'll have to burn a flash of their own, and personally, I would burn my flash for an enemy's laner's flash any day. That's just me, not all junglers are like that, but I definitely think it's worth it, a jungler flash for a laner flash. Now that being said, don't be too liberal with it, because you don't want to just burn it for no reason at all and only get their gap closer. So make sure that if you use your flash, you know it'll do something, but at the same time, don't just hold on to your flash because you think it's too important, because that might cost you the kill. My third tip is to gank right as either your laner is getting right back to lane, or the enemy laner has just returned to lane. Reason being, no one expects it. No one expects your jungler to be there right when they get back. And this gank actually has one of the highest success rates, at least for me, in the game out of like all the ganks, because it's just no one expects it coming. So it's super successful, and I'd really recommend you try it. So in this video clip, my Renekton, he had to go back at level 1, which completely loses him in the lane. That would have been awful. So I knew he needed help, so right after doing my double buff, I straight go top almost the same moment he gets back, and look at this, we get a free kill, which gets him back in the lane, back in the game, and he ends up dominating his lane, and we win before 20 minutes. So without that gank, things would have been a lot worse for our Renekton, and that's why you should really try it, especially if your laner has to go back or dies at level 1. That's one of the best times to do it, but really do it whenever. Do it whenever your laner gets back, because it will almost always work. Okay, now for lane ganking. So lane ganking is when you get into a lane by sneaking into the side bushes because your lane is pushed up, so you can't go from behind. So instead, you just go from the lane. And first of all, it requires your lane to be pushed up, obviously, so you can get into the side bushes. The thing I want to say though is that it is a little risky because it does take a long time to set up and can be a little tricky to pull off. So don't do it every time, but it is worth sometimes when you know that it's going to be an easy kill, like here. So just be careful when you're doing it. Don't spend too long in the bush like I did, because I spent a long time in there, and you'll be fine. And that's going to be all the tips for this video, so I hope they improve your jungling, and thanks for watching. Also, be sure to subscribe if you're interested in more videos like these, because I will definitely be putting out more jungling tips shortly, and also just more League videos in general. So see you later.